introduction that our able Cameroon president, Mr. Kwa Marcel, he's going to give us a brief overview of AfCFTA and its relevance to youths in Cameroon. So over to you, sir, Monsieur Marcel. Donc, on vous attend.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone, distinguished panelists. Before I go further, I would like to know if someone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon once more, distinguished panelists, fellow young leaders, and participants joining us from across Cameroon and beyond. My name is Kwa Marcel Tem, and I have the honor of serving as the country lead for Cameroon under the AfCFTA National Champion, a Youth Champion Fellowship. It is a real pleasure for me to welcome you to this important webinar on navigating the challenges and opportunities the AfCFTA offers to Cameroonian youth. The African Continental Free Trade Area is one of the most ambitious projects undertaken by the African Union. It seeks to create a single continental market for goods and services with free movement of people and investment. Currently, 54 African countries have signed and 47 have ratified the agreement, making it the largest free trade area in the world membership. The AfCFTA aims, among others, to boost intra-African trade, enhance industrialization, and create sustainable jobs, especially for young people and women. It's not just a trade policy, rather, it is a transformational framework for Africa's economic integration and development. The AfCFTA Youth Champion Fellowship, initiated by the AfCFTA Secretariat in Ghana in collaboration with the African Center for Youth Development Education Advocacy Initiative and partners, is designed to empower young Africans to become advocates and implementers of the AfCFTA at the national and regional levels. As fellows, our mission here is to raise awareness about the AfCFTA and its benefits, engage national stakeholders, including government ministries, private sector actors, civil society, and academia on youth-led inclusive implementation of the AfCFTA. Also, it has as goal to promote youth participation in trade, entrepreneurship, and digital innovation within the AfCFTA framework. And most importantly, translating the AfCFTA from policy to practice by ensuring that young people are not just beneficiaries, but rather drivers of Africa's integration. Here in Cameroon, the AfCFTA actually presents both the challenges and vast opportunities. Our country economy is diversified from agriculture to manufacturing to digital services, which equally position Cameroon strategically to benefit from regional trade. However, realizing these opportunities requires addressing barriers. That is why today's webinar, Navigating the Challenges and Opportunities of the AfCFTA, the opportunities the AfCFTA offers to Cameroonian youth is important. Through this discussion, we aim to explore how young Cameroonians can engage with the AfCFTA value chains, identify policy and institutional gaps that affect youth participation, and share practical pathways for youth-led innovation, cross-border trade, and digital entrepreneurship within the AfCFTA market. As youth, we stand at the forefront of Africa's integration journey. The AfCFTA is just not a continental agreement. Rather, it is a generational opportunity. Our role through this fellowship and through platform like this is to ensure that young voices are not only heard, but reflected in the policies and programs that shape Africa's future. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to the insightful discussion ahead. Thank Thank you, Madam Mesame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwa Marcel. If there's one thing I gathered from what you said is raising awareness of who we are as AfCFTA champions. So I'm very, very happy for that. And please, you can feel free to ask questions in the chat box. S'il vous plaît, n'hésitez pas à laisser les questions dans les chats. Donc, you move to our second speaker, who is no other than Dr. Abang Kalistus. He wears many hats, but for today, he wants himself to be profiled as an expert and researcher of AfCFTA, and he will be talking about the challenges for youth participation in AfCFTA trade. Thank you, sir. Dans notre deuxième intervenant, n'est autre que le docteur Abang Kalistus, expert sur les esclaves. Il va nous parler des défis pour la participation des jeunes dans les commerces des esclaves. Donc, monsieur, docteur, vous avez la parole. On vous attend. Merci.
Well, immensely, thanks for the warm welcome. I want to thank equally the organizers. I don't know, I will just have some few slides. I hope that we will be able to accommodate them within the time limit, within the 10 minutes. So, but that are just very short slides. I don't know if we are seeing, are we seeing my slide?
Yes, or not the,
I'm not seeing your slides yet, but I'm seeing you.
Maybe it should be on the way. I don't know if, let me see again if I can reshare. I hope that it should be sharing by now. Okay, however, while waiting, if we will come out later in the day, no problem, but for the sake of expediency and time, I believe that we will be able to sail through and then see how to engage and see how to share with this subtopic that I was given to present by the organizers. I will not go back to the nitty-gritties that the country lead has already presented. I was just given a carved-out subtopic on the challenges that young people face. Talking about young people, we are talking about young Cameroonians and Africans as a whole, because the African Continental Free Trade Area concerns Cameroon, concerns Africa, and not other countries beyond the continent. Just a quick review of some available statistics in Africa that fortunately, youth unemployment rate in Cameroon, let me start with Cameroon, as from the 2024 estimate, youth unemployment rate in Cameroon stands at 6.2, which is not really encouraging. Youth labor force participation rate in Cameroon at 46.54, population age between 18 to 25 as per the 2023 statistics, which is not really encouraging. And now when we open up the tentacles to the entire African continent, we will also decry the fact that the trends in unemployment as far as young people are concerned is 10.3% average youth unemployment rate on the continent, you can imagine. And 38 million young people in Africa are still unemployed, and 60% of all unemployed individuals in Africa are youth. So you can imagine why this topic is really challenging a topic and challenging a concept, talking about concept. We are talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, before we dive into the honors of the topic that I have to present, we look at the challenges faced by African youth as a whole. We can say that, like is found in every country where it concerns job creation, employment, and so on, young people do face the issue of lack of job opportunities and stable employment. They have limited access to finance and funding. They have the skills mismatching and inadequate education system. Informal sector dominant with 7 in 10 young workers in insecure jobs. Yeah, so you will agree with me that given this discouraging facts about young people in Cameroon and young people in Africa, that's why we usually see young people indulging in some vices that are not really appetizing to many of us. We know that protests here and there, not only in Cameroon, in Africa, led by young people because they are disappointed with the way things are done, especially the employment issues wherein they are not really considered fully in the spectrum of employment. But however, we can't really just say that the situation is so bad as we may look at it, but it is encouraging, but much still need to be done as we flow in the premise of Oliver Twist. We will now come to understand the concept have been defined and explained and contextualized by the country lead that young people in Cameroon face issues concerning finance and resources as far as the African Continental Free Trade Area is concerned. To have carried out research in Cameroon on young people who are involved in business and how they appreciate how they accommodate the African Continental Free Trade Area, we noted with dismay that a lot of them have issues with the understanding of what the provisions and the opportunities of the African Continental Free Trade Area, where they equally pose the problem of finance and resources, and they have this issue of fear of facing competition with larger economies. In the way, at the junction, we can understand that, for instance, a young man who is hawking at Mokolo Market in Yaoundé, for instance, is being informed of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the person knows that his capital is about 1 million. And now you go to talk about African Continental Free Trade Area to such a person. The person will look at you as tempting. The person will look at you as tempting because he or she's not having that available finance and available resources. But however, this we cannot really generalize it because we equally have young guys, young Cameroonians. We have the Dashakos and the others that if you meet them with the concept of African Continental Free Trade Area, where they understand the technicalities involved, rules of origin, certificate, and others, they will not hesitate to indulge in it, given that they have the much needed finances. But how many of them can really boast of this? That's why we consider this as a challenge to young people in Cameroon to apprehend and to flow within the ambit of the African Continental Free Trade Area. They equally face the issue of infrastructure and trade facilitation. You know, in Cameroon, you know, with our bureaucratic issues, wherein something that can be done within few hours, we extend it to months, at times years, and you start asking yourself, where are we leading to? And when you come, we make a comparative analysis with other countries in Africa, like Rwanda that spearheaded the launching of the African Continental Free Trade Area. You can see a great difference there. So you start asking yourself that that where can we flow in when the infrastructures are not there, where the provision for trade facilitation are either there but very limited or are not completely there. So there's this need for improved infrastructure and trade facilitation. On the issue of finance, which we know is really causing great repercussion or consequences on young people who wish to embrace the African continental free trade area. They don't have the capital. They don't have their impact or the ability to invest in business and expand operation is either thwarted by political undertones, because we know in the country wherein we are ruled by gerontocracy, people, some of those people who may not understand what we're talking about, African continental free trade area. It is true, some of them were there in the times of Udayak, some of them were there in the times of ECAS, in time of St. Mark and others, but this is a new baby that umbrellas all the regional organizations. But do these people really understand? And are there provision to encourage young people to take part? There is these difficulties on assessing finances from young people is really a hard nut to crack. But then we don't just have to rely on the finances, because at one moment you can have the money, but you don't have the technical know-how to go about it. First, how many young people in Cameroon are aware of what is called African Continental Free Trade Area? And that is why there is an urgent need for capacity building and training needs. And I am challenging the country lead to take this up very seriously, to organize trainings on capacity building on young people, because this training would develop necessary skills and knowledge on the African continental free trade. It will equally train them on trade policies, custom procedures, and business management. Young people need to be mentored, to be coached on programs that will support their entrepreneurship and businesses. Because you know, in Cameroon, there's this principle of man no man. At one moment, when you don't have somebody to hold you, it is true that in philosophy we also agree that your life may be conditioned in someone's hands. It is true, because we live in the premise of Ubuntu. We should drag or hold our hands if we and mutually encourage ourselves on the journey to success. So there's need for capacity building. But then these young people equally face another great challenge, which is that of digitalization. Yeah, because we know it is true that nearly every young one now wants to own an Android phone. But do they really make use of this Android phone? How many young people have Android phone in Cameroon? How many young people have access to internet connectivity? How many young people understand the digital infrastructure? How many young people understand the payment system via their phones? How many young people do understand online security? We equally acknowledge the fact that we have that limited access to digital technology and platforms, that the impact on ability to participate in digital economy is on the one hand limited, and the other hand is thwarted by public policies. But then for young people to be able to sail through this new phenomenon, we can call it phenomenon or a policy, African continental free trade, because if some people that we interview now are still alien to this concept, then we understand that it is becoming phenomenal, but then we shouldn't belabor our point on that. So talk about payment systems as far as the challenge with digitalization is concerned. I don't know how many young people know about PAPS. I know in the context of African Continental Free Trade Area, we can't talk about payment system without make allusion to PAPS. perhaps it's the Pan-African payment settlement system, because you understand that Africa is not having a unified currency. Each country, or let's talk about regions, some regions using the CFA, Nigeria using the Naira, and the other countries, and so forth. In Zambia, Zambian kwacha, in Malawi, Malawian kwacha, and so on and so forth. How do we do these payments when we import, when we export, if we don't have a unified currency? And that is why it is easy in the European Union, where they have just one currency. And that's why young people need to understand these tools very well, because among the challenges of the African continental free trade area is the payment system, because the dollar is usually imposed on importers and exporters. Then you also understand the security with the payment. If you are traveling out of Cameroon, there's a law that you don't move with this amount of currency with you. Now, how many banks in Cameroon do dispense foreign currencies? So these are the challenges, and I'm told from some sources that the African Union and the partners are trying to ensure that in the near future there will be a common currency for this transaction to limit or put out these obstacles. As we come to the end of this short presentation, we just have to recall the fact that the African Continental Free Trade Area presents so many challenges for young people, and that we need and these challenges need to be addressed by the powers that be. And talking about the powers that be, we have the government and we have the private sector. When we talk about private sector, we can talk about GCAM and other entities that intervene in this domain. And equally, we may not only say we rely on Cameroon government alone. We can equally rely on the African Union, which is the father of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And to reiterate the need for capacity building, so that young people do not appear very strange or so alien to the concept of African Continental Free Trade Area. We should equally be looking into how these young people can have access to finance, and how digital infrastructure can be improved. In Cameroon, I don't know, it's my own personal observation, when I make a vivid comparison with other countries, it is difficult for a young man to conceive a project and meet somebody he considers as a wealthy and well-renowned business giant who can be of help to sow a seed in his or her life. That's I have this concept. I need support. But I have that belief that these people are usually afraid that when I invest on this young man, he may become more than me. But this is a bit peculiar to Cameroon, because in other countries, like we know of Mark Zuckerberg, his project was just a little demonstration in the amphi in this class, and he got all the sponsors. And we don't need to remind ourselves where he is today. He's among the richest persons in the world. So you can imagine what having access to finance may mean to these young people, especially when it concerns African Continental Free Trade Area. I am grateful to have been part of this great initiative, and there's a call to action for government and private sector to learn their support and resources for young people. Thank you. Merci, gracias. Okay, over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abang. Please, can I get some thank you, Doctor? I've gathered that we need to raise awareness of AfCFTA. We need financing. Donc, c'est très difficile pour les jeunes Camerounais pour actualiser les choses des esclaves. Donc, we are really, really behind in this vision, and I hope that one day we too, as Cameroon youths, will be seen. So after listening to the challenges of youth participation in AfCFTA trade, I believe it's of utmost importance to understand the opportunities and the importance to Cameroon youth entrepreneurs. The challenges we are facing are so much from what doctor said. So I think this is the right time for us to bring in a speaker who will tell us about the opportunities we have as Cameroon youths. In fact, as African youths, all the way from Nigeria, we have the executive director for the African Center for Youth Development, Education, and Advocacy Initiative, Mr. Tama Monde. Suite la présentation des défis, nous allons maintenant explorer les opportunités offertes par les esclaves aux jeunes avec Monsieur Tama Monde comme intervenant. Il est porteur de vision des champions actifs.
Okay, thank you so very much. Can you hear me? Just to be sure.
We are happy to receive your
Okay, I don't know whether it is my network, but just to be on a safer side, can anyone hear me? I just need a voice because our voice was cracking. So I don't know whether it is from my own end or from our own end.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
No, we can hear you, sir. Cameroon has a serious network issue, so that's why it's breaking, but we can hear you.
Excellent. Before I proceed, let me just take this opportunity to actually give a very thumbs up to Dr. Abang, who just take us through the challenges. I was just telling myself, assuming I've not accepted the invitation, I could have asked him to actually list out the opportunities, because he vividly and professionally, as a researcher, lists out challenges in a very few minutes. Thank you, Doctor. And please, from now henceforth, just one of the challenges you make mention, that the Cameroon team should put their heads together in ensuring that there should be a regular capacity building. And I'm sure after today, henceforth, not just the champions in Cameroon, but even the AfCFTA, even the Fellowship Secretariat will actually reach out to you, because you touch in different perspectives. And the way you pass the message, I could have just, assuming you allow me, I would have asked you to either become a politician or become a lecturer, because you know how to pass the message perfectly well and also convey. So once again, thank you so much. So within a few minutes also that I have, which I will also want doctor to give me a backup, because he has to actually tell us the solution to those problems he make mention. Although he mentioned some, but I want to hear again. So I'll just take a few minutes of my time to be sure that we all are in the same cadre. Once again, champions, I present to you, I bring to you greetings from the African Center for Youth Development. We have been working together with the African Continental Free Trade Area since 2018, and also with the African Union. This is who we are. We try as much as possible to preach the gospel of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And what else can we say than telling us that Cameroon is at a very strategic place, knowing very well that Cameroon is strategically positioned, bordered between 6 countries, and also Cameroon is the gateway to Central Africa. What else can I say? But one thing I want us to understand, just like what Prof said, there are challenges, but let us look beyond the challenges and focus on the solution. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we will be able to get the best out of this opportunity that will present itself. Dear champions or also leaders, I just want to bring this into our notice that this moment we are having will not be enough for us to discuss all the challenges that involve, but this is to set you on fire so that after this meeting, you can go back home, sit down and recalibrate, either your life or become a bedrock or become a pillar to the economic development of Cameroon. I want you to understand that the first opportunity that AfCFTA presents himself is to bring us together as Africans. So that is one opportunity I want you to understand, that the first opportunity is we are all Africans. So whenever I see you, I see Africa first before I see Cameroon. Just like building from what the national leader have said, the AfCFTA present $1 billion investment opportunity, until when Africa will have its own currency, we will not be saying it presents $1 billion African currency opportunity. But at the moment, there is so much opportunity out there. But if you focus on your cup is half empty, not half full, you may not actually see the opportunities. What do I mean by when you are looking at your cup half empty instead of half full? I mean, there are opportunities, but when you focus on the emptiness, the half empty, you will not appreciate that your cup remains a half full. So there are opportunities out of many opportunities, just like what the last speaker said. Countries like Cameroon, Rwanda, which has actually picked up the implementation of the AfCFTA, they are far ahead of many countries. Countries like Rwanda currently, when it comes to digital innovations, they are leading. When it comes to intra-African trade, they are leading in many ways, because they pick up very early. Where is Cameroon currently? Just like what the last speaker said, a lot of young people don't really know. And he made mention of something very important. Why am I relating to this? In most African countries, not that we don't have rich people, but we have very limited or very few people you can go with your ideas and said, I have this idea. Please give me a push. And I will give you all the fund that you need. Not because your idea is not, but we are competing and complementing. What do I mean? Some of you, not that your ideas are not there, but those people that have the money, that have the financial control, when you want to venture into, let's say, you want to start your own digital trade platform, because you don't have money. Someone who have controls with the banks and whatever will spend millions of francs CFA to do whatever they want to do, and pull you down. So we have a very limited number of people that we can actually reach out to. That's a very big challenge. So how can we overcome such kind of challenge? Is for us to leverage on the power of network and partnership. Now, what is the opportunity that you need to know? I don't know whether if this happened in Cameroon. In Nigeria, we have these local people who sell beans and bread. I don't know whether if it happens there. The person that sells beans is different from the person that sells bread. The person that sells bread is his business. But they realize that oftentimes people want to eat beans and bread. So you see them in the morning looking for who has bread, and the person that has beans will pair together with the person that has bread. So oftentimes you see them. Those are the ideas that we need to. So that is opportunity. Oftentimes young people also want to be a solo billionaires. What I mean by billionaires or millionaires? Solo billionaires simply means they just want to make it alone. No. The opportunity that AfCFTA has present is open-ended. Let's partner with ourselves. For example, what is the population of Cameroon? What is the population of Nigeria? What can we do together? How can we complement one another? I was talking to one of the champions from Ghana. I asked, I said, how much does it cost you to print the branding material for your business? And she told me, and to produce that same quantity in Nigeria, it will take only 10% of 100%. For example, if it will cost a 1 million Cameroon money, it will take only 100,000 Nigerian money to print that same exact thing. And I said, why can't you, let's leverage on one's partnership. Why can't you print this thing from here, you package it there, then you sell it back to us, because we have the population, we have the market, but we don't have the product. One opportunity that we need to take advantage of is the power of partnership. Dear champions, you cannot do it alone. I'm telling us, you cannot do it alone. If you have a product, you need a market. If you have the market, you need a product. So that is why we need to open our eyes to the opportunities that leverage. So what do I mean? Access to the continental market. Now, it will be either a reduced tariff or non-tariff product. You don't need to pay to ship your goods. And sometimes we are totally confused. What is tariff? What does that mean? In some countries, if you want to sell your product, if for your product to pass through the market, you need to pay custom. Before they will allow your goods to enter into the market, you need to pay custom, you need to pay this, you need to pay that. But the African Continental Free Trade Area has abolished that. Bring your product as long as it meets up to the rule of origin. Rule of origin is as long as it is from Cameroon. We don't want a product that is outside the continent of Africa. As long as you meet up the criteria from your country, you have the rule of origin certificate. Come on, come and get it. Now, there are also other opportunities. Just like the doctor said, the digital space. The richest people now are people who just sit in their home, build a platform, and let it run in. And I challenge you that Africa will soon become a one market. What are you planning to do in your Cameroon that will solve South African problem? We have a lot of problem. We were having a meeting with the African Development Bank last year, September, and they were talking about building a railway that will connect the whole Africa. And they were talking about issue of big data. How can they get data? How can they build up a system where you can sit where you are and monitor the rail? How can you sit where you are and monitor danger in another zone? How can you sit where you are and know what is happening in another man? And they said, we need to involve young people who are tech savvy. Now, how can you sit in Cameroon to own a market in Nigeria? How can you sit in Cameroon to own a market in South Africa? You don't need to be in South Africa to build an e-commerce platform. You don't need to. Sit there, build a system that connects the buyer and the seller, and you're having your own percentage. Don't be greedy like some Africans who want to become billionaire overnight. Even if it is only one Cameroonian CFA you are getting, it's enough. And it doesn't take much with the advent of AI. It doesn't take much to have your own e-commerce platform. In the next 10 years, people will find it very difficult to go to market. What are you doing? In a real estate, a few years to come, people will not be using house agent any longer because they make houses become expensive. What platform can you build that if I need to get a house in Cameroon, I don't need to come and meet someone. I can sit in the comfort of my zone, look at the most available houses, make payment, and you get your own commission opportunities. Some of the richest e-platforms are Alibabas. Those people that build those platforms sit in their home. They don't do anything. You that has the product, you will go and sign up. And the person that needs the product will go and look for you. They just sit at home because they have the platform. Digital innovation. Now, the AfCFTA has presented one noble opportunities for Cameroon that we need to take part. And I want to tell us that our diversity should be for our advantage, not disadvantage. Cameroon is a mixed country that has both the English-speaking and the French-speaking. And we know there are two different cultures. So we know that everything can be accepted in Cameroon. Not everything can be accepted in France because they'll be accepted in England because they're English-speaking country. The culture, there is a way the culture, come together. But Cameroon can accept everything. And that is why there is a big saying in Nigeria that if you are not loved in Cameroon, you cannot be loved anywhere. I don't know whether you have ever heard of that. I just need a confirmation that if you are not loved in Cameroon, you cannot be loved anywhere. I just need a confirmation if you have heard it before. If you have not heard it, I've heard it in Nigeria and I've heard it in Ivory Coast that if you are not loved in Cameroon, you cannot be loved everywhere. Because if your culture didn't fit in the English, it will fit into the French. So let's take advantage of our diversity to become the best. Imagine the moderator, she can speak English and French. I was just saying we need to bring this lady down to Nigeria in our conference in December. That is advantage. How can we build up a system where we can fit into anything? English, we're there. French, we're there. So we're talking about our potentials. Then also we're talking about investment and partnership opportunities. Now, AfCFTA encourages cross-borders partnership. Investors will be looking for credible yield ventures with scalable models. What do I mean? With the ability that in the next 10 years, they will scale through a lot. This is your time to pitch beyond Cameroon. Attract investors from all over. Because in the next 10 years, they will not be asking, where is this product from? They will only be asking, does this product meet the rule of origin? And it is yes. So think beyond Cameroon. And also because the market is opened, think value. Some of us are still selling our product inside Pepsi bottles or Coca-Cola bottles without labeling. Let's move a step further. A difference between what is selling in a supermarket or what you are buying 10 million, the same product you can buy 10 million and you can get it 1,000. It all depends on the value addition and also what how it is packaged and the rest of it. Cameroonian youth can become a regional exporters. Imagine, because you guys are bordered by 6 African countries. So it means that you guys have access to 6 countries within your cycle. So let's position ourselves. Let us stop. And also one opportunity also is, I always tell people that bad government is an opportunity. Yeah, someone may say, no, but now. When I said we should be looking at our cup is half full instead of half empty. In Africa, we know how to complain a lot. But what have we done in ensuring that we take advantage of the challenges we have? Every entrepreneur you are seeing today is solving a problem. So the more problem you have, the more opportunity you have. Let's look beyond the problem that faces us, but opportunities. Now there are no internet. What can we do? How can we do to connect people? Oh, now we have a transportation issue. How can we do? I don't know whether if we have had a floater wave, pay stacks. These are young Nigerians that sat down and realized there is a problem of payment system. They built a payment system and they sold it out in billions of dollars. What can we do? Let's see beyond the problem. Let's see beyond the problem and begin to see opportunities. Dear young Cameroonians, if you don't pick up so quickly, Cameroon may end up becoming a dumping ground. And the next wave of xenophobia may be in Cameroon. But if we pick up, if we become, and if we imbibe the spirit of entrepreneurial mindset or mind shift, then Cameroon has all it takes to dominate other African countries. Just as I always tell champions, if you don't have a business, it's now high time for you to think of having your own business. If you have a business, it is now time for you to think of formalizing it. If you have formalized your business, it's now time for you to think of your product. If you have a product, it's now time for you to think of adding value to your product. If you have added value to your product, it's now time for you to start thinking outside the box. And if you are thinking outside the box, it's now time for you to begin to imbibe digital product. We are now selling, for example, the graduation is coming up first week of next month of the AfCFTA champions. I'll be finishing the next 1 minute, Mr. President. We the AfCFTA Secretariat approved our lapel. And we said, how can we sell the lapel, or how can we get the lapel across to everybody? We went to a digital platform and we put it out there. People from Zimbabwe, people from South Africa have made their payment. It's because we take advantage of the e-commerce system. I challenge each and every one of us that you can become what you can without going to office from 9 to 5 p.m. Take advantage of your digital form. Look at other countries. People are becoming very rich using digital medias. Look at, I'm sorry that I use Nigeria as a case today. Everybody's becoming a blogger. Everybody's becoming a comedian. Everybody's becoming a musician. Even if they are not paying, they are on the social media. And you are spending time watching them, making them rich overnight. Let's take advantage. It's easier to be rich now than in the last 5 years. And it's easier to be broke, to be poor now than before. The only thing you need to do is seek open-minded. And also, we will not stop blaming the government. They need to create an enabling environment. by making funding available. Now, the example is if there are no funding, we can become investors. You don't need to have too much money. Start small. Most of the indigenous banks you are seeing, they started very small. I'm looking for 5 of my friends that have business that I can give them 1 million Cameroonian currency. Maybe in the next 1 year, you pay me back with 10% interest. Start from there. You are providing fund to other people because you understand that funding was your problem, and also be export ready. Because of our time, as I said, today we may not have enough time to do whatever we need to do. But this is a wake-up call that think outside Cameroon. If you're only thinking of Cameroon, you end up becoming a local champion. Think Africa. Think 200, 600 million people buying your product. Challenge yourself that I want my product to be in Amazon next month. I want my product to be in Jumia. I want my product to be in this place. Take advantage of the digital space. Advertise your product outside your own country base. And I'm sure you get buyers. Without much say or do, the onus is on us. The call is on us to make sure Cameroon become great. We will not stand it to see our young people becoming poorer by poorer again. We have to take the bull by the horn. It is time for us to stand by one another. Opportunities are there. So once again, thank you so very much, the champions, and I wish us the very best of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamamonde. We are so elated to have you, and thank you for my invite to Nigeria. I'm so happy for that. So one of few things that I learned from you is for us to use our diversity to our advantage. And at this point in our history, I think that's very important to use our diversity to our advantage. Donc, ce que j'ai appris à Monsieur Tamamonde, c'est que il faut qu'on voit nos problèmes au-dessus. On voit au-delà du problème. Et je vous remercie, Monsieur Monde, pour tout ce que tu as dit. On a bien compris. On va attendre le docteur Abang. Il va nous dire les opportunités qui sont ici au Cameroun pour les jeunes. Donc, on va faire ça après. Il faut qu'il arrange ce qu'il va nous dire. Donc, Mr. Monde, we are so happy that you gave us this information. And like you said Dr. Abang could help us harness on the opportunities that are available for Cameroonians. So we'll give him the floor maybe for a few minutes after the next speaker. So he tells us some of the opportunities that are available for Cameroonians. So unfortunately, because of the network in Cameroon presently, Mr. Etienne is not available. So we'll move to Mr. Ganker Eric Saga, who is a graduate from the prestigious International Relations Institute of Cameroon. We call it ERIC. And he's a specialist in regional integration, trade, and industrial policy. He'll be talking to us about the strategies for inclusive youth participation, the policy recommendations and partnerships. Donc, nous allons maintenant écouter notre dernier intervenant de la journée qui nous présentait des stratégies pour une participation inclusive des jeunes et de partenariat. Donc, Monsieur Ganku Eric Saga, we are happy to hear from you. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam MC. The name is Ngange Eric. It's a Douala name, a Sawa name. I don't know. I just wanted to comment on the fact that Kwame Marcel and you, the MC, you guys, when you put in me to speak after giants like Dr. Abang and Director Tama Mondi, I think everything has been said already. What do I really? Because they touch practically on everything that was on program. But nevertheless, let me see what I can share. What I prepared, the slide that I prepared. Let's see so that we can glance through all of us. I don't know whether you can see my slide.
Yes, we can see your slides.
Okay. So let me see what I can prepare. As you rightly said, I had to talk about the strategies. I don't know. Let me try and see what I can. Right. Okay, just give me some time, please. Okay, I have to talk about the strategies concerning for inclusive youth participation in the AfCFTA implementation in Cameroon. So what I prepared was just a small presentation outline that you can see here, where the lead, country lead, Kwame Asel, has already come on understanding the AfCFTA, and Dr. Abang and Director Tamad have spoken much about the youth challenges and the opportunities that are available for youth as concern AfCFTA. So I think what I'm going to do is to focus mostly on the strategies that the youth have as concern the AfCFTA implementation in Cameroon. Okay. So the first of the strategies that I have here is I don't know, I'm having some. But before going to the strategies, I would like to talk about the AfCFTA opportunities for youth, because we have key sectors that are really AfCFTA opportunities for youth entrepreneurs in Cameroon, and these sectors are agriculture, creative industries, and digital services, and also manufacturing. Because I wanted to just give an anecdote, because we have a company in Cameroon that is called AfCFTA that produces, that deals with dry food. And AfCFTA, before the coming of the guided trade initiative of the AfCFTA, AfCFTA was a small and medium-sized company that could only supply dry food in Cameroon. And as we know, the consumption and the demand were not really that high. So with the coming of the guided trade initiative, of which Cameroon is one of the pioneer members, AfCFTA had to carry out the first trading of this guided trade initiative of dry food from Cameroon to Ghana. So those are some of the opportunities that exist in the AfCFTA for youth in the agricultural sector. And also, as examples were given concerning the digital services, the AfCFTA, these digital services potential can help to leverage AfCFTA digital trade protocol, which we know there's a special protocol for youth and women and youth for AfCFTA implementation. So digital services is one of the sectors that is open for youth entrepreneurs, especially youth entrepreneurs for Cameroon. Also talking about this, I would like also to come to what Director Tama said, because this is an opportunity time to teach beyond Cameroon, and also to think about value, that's putting value in what our local entrepreneurs are doing, and also to see beyond the problem and instead focus on opportunities. So I think some barriers to youth participation have also already been touched, because we had a limited access to finance, policy exclusions, policy exclusions, because with the complex administrative procedures, this creates barriers to entry for youth entrepreneurs. Here we see that business registration takes an average of 30 days in Cameroon versus 10 days in some other countries, especially countries like Rwanda, that was given as an example, that even have business registration lower than even the 10 days. And there's also another aspect that is also a barrier about, like we can say, about information gaps and also skill mismatch. That's why we come back to the issue of capacity building, which is really very important for youth to benefit from the AfCFTA implementation. So the first strategy I want to focus on here is concerning capacity building, as I just said. Under capacity building, we can have training in export procedures, also trade finance, which is very important because educating entrepreneurs on securing funding for international trade, addressing challenges of rejected SMEs financing application due to lack of knowledge. This is very important, the capacity building on issues of trade finance. Digital marketing also, because the digital sector has enormous opportunities for trading, especially for young entrepreneurs who are so versatile with the information technology. So training on digital marketing is also very important to help for them to find markets and also to show their products to the world. Also product standardization, also which is also important. As I was saying, the case study I was talking about was the GCAFATEX that exported some dried agricultural products. Safu is plums, pineapple, ginger to Ghana. This gave them some benefits to benefit from the preferential regimes of the AfCFTA. And this was done in October 2022. So out of that, the second strategy I want to talk of is access to finance. Yes, innovative financing models and resources, which will help to support youth-led businesses in accessing capital needed for cross-border trade and market expansion. So here we have two columns where I'll talk about innovative financing models and also key funding resources. Innovative financing models that youth entrepreneurs can focus on and capitalize. We have financing models like crowdfunding, that's for startups. Diaspora bonds also is is something to look into, and venture capitals. For key funding resources, youth can look into the World Bank Business Plan competition. The World Bank BPC is a competition that brings together young entrepreneurs for training and coaching in business plan writing, entrepreneurship, and financial management. Submission of business plan evaluation, which is often done by a panel of judges. After this, we have there's always a award of prizes, grants, technical assistance, mentoring for winners. For example, an evaluation reported winners were given on average $50,000 in grants. So it's already an opportunity for young entrepreneurs to look into for funding resources. And also, we'll talk about the Diaspora Youth Joint Venture, which is another initiative that is a youth-led digital transformation program that includes 50,000 plus youth trained in e-commerce platform, and also it's a Pan-African network for cross-border trade. So other initiatives to look on, you have the Tony Elumelo Entrepreneurship Fellowship, and you also have the other initiatives of the African Development Bank, AFDB. So furthermore, we can also talk about strategies like digital inclusion and innovation hub. In Cameroon, I wanted to highlight 3 innovation hubs that the youth can consider in their strategies. We have at the École Nationale Supérieure Polytechnique, where we have a tech innovation center. I think most youth, as the former presenter said, they search for they search for knowledge, they search for opportunities. Search of mentorship is also very important because opportunities may be existing, but because of lack of knowledge, most youth don't know that these opportunities are open for them to take to benefit and also to upgrade themselves. In Boya, we can talk also about the Silicon Mountain, which is a digital entrepreneurship initiative. In Douala, we have Active Spaces, which is a co-working space environment. Also, digital tool that was already mentioned by the other speakers, especially the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System for intra-African trade. That is an interchange of currency, because we know in Africa we have multiple currencies from different, every country having its own currency that normally should be a hindrance to trade. But with the PAPs, the AfCFTA thought wise that with PAPs, this is going to facilitate the payment of trading transaction between countries. So we have also to think about e-commerce platforms, which are digital marketplace connecting Cameroonian product to continental market. Because as Director Thomas said, we cannot just focus only on the Cameroonian market. We should be thinking about what Cameroon to do to own a market in other parts of Africa. And I think Steve, following in is what is time to pitch beyond Cameroon. So with e-commerce platforms and also mobile money with digital financial services for cross-border transactions. So these benefits are, you have key benefit access to continental market, as we know, reduce transaction costs and streamline custom procedures. So having given those three strategies, I think we can talk about there is no success without partnership. Selfish interest will never help an entrepreneur to expand beyond borders. So the youth, young entrepreneurs should think about partnering, collaborative approach to create an enabling environment for youth in the implementation of the AfCFTA. So in this partnership that are open, that are offered to the youth, we have the government sector that helps to create an enabling policy environment. We have the private sector that is key in providing mentorship because of experience. We have development partners that can provide technical assistance and facilitate knowledge sharing. We have youth organizations like the AfCFTA. I think Mr. Kwame Marcel is best placed in spearheading this sector, youth organizations that advocate for youth interests. And also like what we are doing now, like a webinar like this one, trying to improve on the understanding of the AfCFTA for youth entrepreneurs in Cameroon. Also the academia to integrate the AfCFTA in education. I think those are long-term projects that will be very important so that we can have the training of youth that are grounded in the knowledge of entrepreneurship. Or in this partnership framework, the key principles are collaborations, equity, which is not equality, and mutual benefit and collective impact for all the participants in the partnership. So talking about in conclusion, we have presented an action plan and recommendation, which are concrete steps for youth inclusion in AfCFTA implementation. The Youth AfCFTA Task Force, which is what Kwame Marcel and the group are carrying out, youth-focused trading financing, which is to develop specialized financial products to address high SMEs financing rejections. Because with some statistics show that like 51% of SMEs requests for finances are always rejected, up to 51%, which is really great. So youth-focused trade financing is very important. A mentorship program with specifically the private sector and the AfCFTA in education, as was said. So an implementation timeline for youth inclusion can be as such. So, well, if there's a launch of a task force with defined mandate at the end of 3 years, we can have an integrated youth perspective international strategy scale of financing window and expand mentorship programs nationally, national rollout of AfCFTA inclusive curriculum. So in a nutshell, I'm just trying to keep up to the 10 minutes, even though I've gone above. So together, we can unlock the potential of Cameroonian youth through AfCFTA. So in a nutshell, I'm very grateful for your kind attention. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I was enjoying the whole presentation. And we had even hoped that after your presentation, you will have to tell us a call for action. But see your presentation, you already have that. And so we are very, very grateful. Your presentation was really explicit. Thank you very much. Merci, monsieur.
It's a pleasure. I'm grateful.
We are very, 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 very grateful. So this is the session of question and answers. But before that, I wish to know from Dr. Abang if he could, in a few minutes, just tell us some of the opportunities for after youths in Cameroon. Is he available for that? Or do we go straight to the question and answer? Dr. Abang, pardon. Vous êtes disponible? Okay, merci.
I don't think that I will really have much to add because the two great speakers who came after me have dived into the entire subject. I don't think I have much to add there because the last speaker has really elaborated on the opportunities we have in Cameroon, and the barrister was so enlightening, especially with key examples, key case studies. I just wish to say that we can also think of these institutions that intervene in the domain of African continental free trade area because like young people, they need to know, they need to understand that if they need more information, where can they go to? Because it is also good that they should know. We can cite the Cameroon National Shippers Council that mandated to collect and share relevant information about the African continental free trade area, provide capacity building for exporters and importers, and facilitate trade and transport infrastructure development. We equally have the Ministry of Trade that is responsible for developing and implementing policy related to trade and commerce, including the African Continental Free Trade Area. And we have the Interministerial Committee, which brings together the various partners, including the Minister of External Relations, and their role or the role of the committee is to monitor and to evaluate the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. I just regret the fact that Mr. Bama Etienne couldn't join because he is the one as the focal point at the Cameroon Shippers Council in Douala. So he could have enlightened us more on that. But we know subsequently when we shall have another session, he may be there. Beyond the national institutions, we can also think of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, which headquarters is in Yaoundé for the Central African sub-region. So the role is to provide support to Cameroon implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area through capacity building and technical assistance to note well. And then we could also think of Trade Law Center and our brother Mr. Bama, who is on Abson was recently promoted as associate researcher in that center. That center provides support to Cameroon in implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area through technical assistance equally and through capacity building. Yeah, so to complete the list that the last speaker was quoting, where he quoted Jig Afatek to have exported dried sunflower, dry pineapple, and so on. We could add to that list the Ndawara tea estate that exported almost 38.6 kilograms of tea to Ghana under the African Continental Free Trade Area, alongside Cameroon Tea Estate. We could equally add Cameroon Aluminium Company, that is Alucam, that exported almost 99.4 tons of aluminium ingot to Algeria under the African Continental Free Trade regime, marking Cameroon's first containerized export. So you can, these are some examples that we need to understand that we have not reached the point of a dying horse, that much is being done. It's true that the implementation is slow, but surely we shouldn't end without mentioning and observing the fact that apart from exporting, there's a company that imported to Cameroon under the African Continental Free Trade regime, which the Inoda Industry SAL, which imported a shipment of resin from Tunisia under the African marking Cameroon first import under the preferential trade regime. So, in a nutshell, we have to understand that institutional-wise, we have so many governmental institutions ready to assist in various domains. And I also gather information that the duration to clear goods at the Douala seaport have been reduced, have been streamlined to facilitate trade, which is something to appreciate. We they have initiative organized by the Cameroon Minister of Youth Affairs through PAGEU and other projects, PIFMAL and so many other projects for capacity building to assist young people who want to involve in small or what type of trade of their choice. They are ready to accompany them. We have the Cameroon National Employment Fund. We have the National Investment Fund. We have the National Investment Agency. It is true that our brother from Nigeria will be shocked to hear the multiplication of so many agencies. Let's not go into politics. If it is concerning agencies and good offices we have, but the problem may lie on the implementation. Thank you. Over.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abba. One thing I've gathered is we have very good offices, but implementation is always a challenge. So, merci. Maintenant, c'est la session des questions et réponses. Please, this is a time for question and answers. Feel free to ask questions. You could ask a question in the chat box. You could raise your hand. Anyone with a question, this is the moment. Feel free to ask. So I'll give a few seconds for that activity. If not, we move on. Okay, it's as the okay. There's a question from Mr. Tama Monday. Over to you, sir.
Yes, I just want to ask a generic question to us participants. Let's assume the government reach out to, let's say, one of us and said, we want to actually give you the responsibility to coordinate the AfCFTA activities of Cameroon. What would be the top 3 things that we will prioritize? The first top 3 things that we'll prioritize. Because if we don't really know what we prioritize, we may be asking the wrong question when we are invited to the table. Did anyone get me? Moderator.
Yes, I heard you. I don't know if you could repeat the question so others should hear.
The question to all of us, apart from the two speakers, I said, let's assume, let me use you, moderator, as a case study. The government of Cameroon reached out to you and said, we want to, even the national coordinator can answer, we want to make you the focal person of the AfCFTA implementation for Cameroon. You'll be the one to lead the diplomatic team and do whatever it is. Just make sure Cameroon become a leading player when it has to do with AfCFTA. What would be your top 3 priority in ensuring that Cameroon is well positioned as an AfCFTA implementing country, not just signing the trade treaties and the rest of it?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Monday. I think while I reflect on my answer, I'll give the floor to Mr. Kwa Marcel. The president, please do well and answer the question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tama. Thank you, Madam Mesame, and thanks all our invited guests for the beautiful and wonderful presentation we have heard from them. All right, over to you, Mr. Tama. Let me attempt your question. Regarding that, I'm called up by the government and should be the focal point for the implementation of the AfCFTA in Cameroon and look beyond Cameroon borders. I think first is that I will have to be looking at how we can improve on our trading capacity. And here we'll be looking at what exactly we will produce. Secondly, we'll be looking at what the market needs, because we need to first of all identify the problems. From there, we start creating the solutions, because producing just like that, it doesn't make sense, because you need to produce with respect to demand. And so, while after having identified the problem, then we'll examine our capacity. How much can we produce? And if we can produce as much, good and fine. And how then do we get this out of our environment? Because first, before taking it out there, we need first of all to establish the business well grounded within the Cameroon soil, because we cannot produce something that we ourselves don't consume, because it might be difficult for us to have a good market for that. And secondly, we need to impact to impact capacity building. If we can identify a particular product or produce that we can produce it more efficiently and sell, then we equally need to have the ability to impact ourselves much better, such that we become more resilient. And then I think the third thing to do again is creating more engaging more with other partners, and equally making sure that what we lack, what we cannot produce, we should negotiate more beneficiaries, such that we have a good working relationship with our neighbors, because we can virtually not produce everything. We will definitely still be depending upon another. So I don't know if presented it this way answers your questions. So I think I may end there, except that I can come again and say something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Marcel. I don't know, Mr. Tamak, are you satisfied? But one other thing I will add, if I was to advise or to give my own contribution, is that we should leverage on the sustainability of products. We should leverage on products that are eco-friendly. We should leverage on products that are in accordance with the ongoing climate changes, so we can be able to navigate through all continents and all countries. Because what is most important is not only the production, but it's also to ensure that there's sustainability in whatever you're producing. And last but not the least, like Mr. Marcel said, of course, awareness and capacity building. Thank you, Mr. Marcel. Thank you to everybody, Mr. Monday. I don't know if you have something else you would like to say.
Okay, just to add to the question and ask, because I remember back then we had an event somewhere with I can't remember, either World Trade Organization or so, and they said something. They said, if you want to challenge the president of your country, sit down and write a manifesto for yourself. If I become the president, this is what I'll do. This is what I'll do. Then compare with the current president itineraries, whether your own is better or his own is better. So that's why I asked, because we are champions. You have been taken through the training, and I was just because we focus more on the challenges and the opportunities, So if you are asked what are the top 3 things that, it's just like the last presentation, the other speaker did, that he make mention of coordinating some of the institutions and the rest of it. So we are all good, the ability to understand the product that are leading, that can bring in investors. But one of the challenges that most countries have is the incoordinations of institutions that are implementing the AfCFTA. For example, in Nigeria, we have Nigerian Export Promotion Council, one. We have another council that is in charge of SMEs, 2. We have another council that is in charge of import only, 3. We have another institution that is in charge of diaspora, 4. But the AfCFTA implementation is under the office of the vice president. So we have too many. You wonder where to go to get what information, who is in charge of who, who is in control of what. So I'm just saying this so that the next time we'll be able to bring the focal person on ground, we'll put him on his assignment. We'll put him on how can we coordinate that? And just like what the other speaker said, the issue of capacity building, what strategic are we putting in place to train trade associations? The Association of Cocoa Producers, because they are the drivers of economy. The Shippers Council, oftentimes Shippers Council focus more on shipping product outside the country. How can they work together with the local institutions to boost the local production? Then also the policies are also very important, because government can choke you or they can release you. So I just want us to go back home and study and rethink. And I'm sure Doctor will make himself available. Doctor, if you are still here, because you are a researcher, for us to reach out to you. And Kwa, I want you to have a personal mentorship with Doctor, so that he will take you through those challenges and what are the ways that you think, so that when we are engaging with those in charge, we will be able to speak the right language, speak the right thing. And that is why we blame the government. But have you ever asked yourself, if you become the president of Cameroon today, what will you do? Before you know, you now realize that, whoa, man, it's not as easy as I think. So you must envision what you think is visible. That's why I answered that question. And it's take-home assignment. If you are called to lead, what will be your first 3 priorities? Is it institutions? Or is it controlling the external forces? Or are you focusing on the government? Or are you focusing on the SMEs? Or are you focusing on protecting the local factories, and the rest of it? So thank you so very much. And I end from here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monday. It has really been an impactful session. To me, it has been a learning journey, and I'm super overjoyed that I've been here. And we are looking forward to partnerships. We are looking forward to learning best practices from our seniors. We have Dr. Abang, we have Mr. Ngange, Mr. Etienne. I want to also use this opportunity to apologize for those who could not make it. It's not been easy with the network problems in Cameroon. So I apologize and I want to thank everybody who tried to be here. It has not been an easy ride. And also, feel free, we'll share the links to our social media handles. Feel free to connect with the After platform and have a wonderful weekend. Merci à, merci à tous pour votre présence. N'hésitez pas à nous suivre sur toutes les plateformes de réseaux sociaux et restez connectés pour découvrir les opportunités et les activités à venir. Passez une bonne samedi. Have a nice day, everybody. Hope to hear from you people again. I see the reactions. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's nice weekend from us to you. Thank you, Mr. Monday. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.